Hey MMT followers, Christina Fuges with MoldMaking Technology for a quick MMT chat. My guests today are remoting in from two different countries this time. We have Mario Haidlmair, the CEO of Haidlmair, and we have their head of corporate communications, Peter Peschl, who are both in Austria. And it's this afternoon there. And we also have the COO and the head of sales for Haidlmair North America, hailing from Ontario, Canada, is Angelo Morra. So hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Christina.
So their team has been involved in a mask project, which people have been hearing a lot about. It's been all over social media, quite frankly, that's how I learned about it, to help fight the COVID-19 virus. So why don't we not waste any time and get right into those project details. So Mario, do you want to take the lead on explaining how this project came about?
Well, basically, it all started with a product design which we got from a company in Germany. It's called Provide. And they asked us to produce a mold for these masks. Yeah, I also have one here, and basically very simple system. So because you can open it, you can put in different kind of cloths or filter materials. You just close it and you put it on your mouth and strap it on. And so this is a cool idea. And I saw this the first time. I thought, wow, you can make something out of it. And therefore, we made an agreement with the gentleman in Germany that we, as Haidlmair Group, we can sell this worldwide. And as you might know, we are one of the largest mold makers here in Europe, and mainly specialized on bigger tools than these. So basically, what we did is that we are offering a 2-cavity mold and also a 4-cavity mold, so which are a little bit bigger in the end, and where you can produce much more pieces than with a single shot. And so we have built this mold in 2 weeks, and now the following molds which we are building for the whole world already, for Europe, for Africa, and hopefully also for the US. So we can build them in 4 weeks from today, because we have already a backlog, but every additional mold needs 3 days. You know?
Okay. Yep. So tell me a little bit about Haidlmair in terms of what your specialty is and what you do every day compared to this project. Because I understand these are extraordinary times, so people are doing things they don't typically do in times they don't typically do them in. So can you talk a little bit, like compare what you're typically used to doing and this project?
Yeah, so usually we are at home in logistics. So starting from smaller crates and totes, also from pails, which we do mainly in North America, but also going up to bigger parts like pallets or real huge 1100-liter waste bins. So that's our range usually. And so we do a lot for the logistics market, and also some products for the consumers. We are specialized here in Europe, at least for the beer crates, which you unfortunately them. US, I think, are not so common, but here we're doing a lot of them, and we are the world market leader in those things. Also for the foldable crates where you have all the fruits in, the vegetables. I guess if you go to a Walmart, it's pretty sure that this mold has been made by us.
Absolutely. Okay. So how about lead times? How are these lead times?
Numbers maybe a little bit. We have 600 employees in the group, and we have 300 here in our headquarters, and the rest is in 4 main production locations in Hungary for low-cost production, for mold bases. 1 then here next to us in Austria, and 1 in Canada, in Ontario. And we do a lot of IT jobs as well. So we have our own IT company in the group, where we also have a lot of apps and new things around mold making. That's it.
Nice, nice. So what are your average lead times? So how does this turnaround time for the PPE mask compare?
Yeah, I mean, our usual products starting from 14 weeks going up to 30 weeks. As you can imagine, for the real big projects, along to get the steel in takes a really long time. And so this is a normal lead time for us. But again, as we have a lot of milling machines in-house and huge capacity, if we want to do something, and so we decided to give this priority number one at the moment. And we have a automation line which is really working nice here, so which is programming a lot itself, and therefore we can do additional those new
So was it easy to work this project into your schedule? Was it like all hands on deck, or was there a dedicated team? Talk a little bit about how you managed to get that done amidst all your other work.
Yeah, so basically, as you said, we put together a team with the leaders in all different departments, and we said, how can we do that to really prioritize it and really put it forward in every department, wherever it is. And the thing in every project, or all the projects like these, is what is the longest part, and you have to analyze the path of the longest or part where you have to put in most of the effort. Whenever you have that, just make sure that in a whole company, all the rest of the parts are also taken care of, and then you can achieve some really great delivery times.
What would you say was the #1 challenge working on this project when it came to your process or your people?
The challenge in the end was that, as you can imagine, man, this is a real small product compared to
all the other stuff,
or a pallet. So we do not have the right machines for the small parts here on the one hand side, and to make it in TPE, as this is a TPE mask made out of TPE, is also not our main material. So we had to adjust a little bit about it, and I think this was the biggest challenge, because the mold itself is quite simple, but again, we had some features for low cycle time which we put in, because productivity is important, especially with those things, because the quantities are huge worldwide. The demand is amazing, and so that's what we have tried to do for our customers.
Going through this, did you learn anything about your people or your process? Were you surprised by what the team could accomplish, or was there a particular way that you normally do things that you're like, you know what, I guess moving forward, we're able to do this really efficiently. Why can't we apply this to other jobs, other projects that we do? Did you learn anything like that?
Well, once in our history, we already tried to make a world record. We built a bottle crate mold, which is much more complex and has many more parts in 1 week. And
oh, wow. So you're used to this.
Exactly. The problem is then all our customers asked us, yeah, okay, so you can build this in 1 week. Why can't you do this all the time, right?
Right, exactly. Customer expectations, right? All of a sudden you're like, whoa, you can do this all the time now.
Exactly, that's the point here, and that's where you have to take care, because that's a big difference. I mean, really, the design is one point for sure. So we received the product design from Germany, as I said earlier, and so we could really start with the mold from day one with the mold design, and we did that really fast, as again, because it's a simple product. But it's always nice to see if you bring a project like this into the normal work schedule, that everybody gets excited in the whole company about it, and people are running around, and okay, and still all the other projects are not in danger, and that's the good thing about it, because it's easy to leave everything where it is, and then you just make this and dedicate yourself to that, and then okay, you have a big problem with all the other projects. But no, it's not the case here, and so everybody put additional power to this and did overtime or after the normal work time in the evenings. So I really have to say thank you very much to all of our team, which has achieved that, next to the other jobs. I think at the moment we are still very busy here, so even in this corona times we don't feel a downturn at the moment, So as
That's
I said, additional work on top of it, and I'm really proud on our team.
You should be. I did notice on LinkedIn, I think also, an ad for that you're still hiring at this time also? Did I see that correctly?
Sure, we are always
that's a
looking
great sign.
for good people in many fields, and so there are a couple of positions out there at the moment. Correct.
That's good news. So let's talk a little bit about the company in light of the virus. So let's give a little snapshot of how the business is generally, how morale is, because Peter and I were talking before everybody got on, there's still that bit of uncertainty in terms of when is this going to be over, right? When are we going to get back to our new normal? So talk a little bit about, the workforce, the morale, how leadership is stepping in and what you're doing to keep everybody motivated and confident in the company.
Well, first of all, the issues which we have taken care of the first time was safety, for sure, so that we separated the teams. We started more shifts so that we have more people in the shift as usual. And that means that we don't have so many people at the same time in the company. We're doing a lot of video conferencing, all these things like everybody else is doing, I guess. We do it, and we do it in combinations, and I think that's good base. Here in Austria, the situation was quite bad at the beginning. It looked really bad because we were close to Italy. You remember that was the first country after China. So that was bad, but our government stopped it very fast, and therefore, the moment the situation looks quite good here, and I think we are moving to a good direction here in general. But Austria is very small, and it's never mind what we are doing in the end. It's the big countries which are counting, like the US or Germany, France, all those countries here. In Europe, looks like it's getting better, but again, as we can hear in the news everywhere, I also agree that without how do you say this in English? Injection, as long as we don't have the injection.
Yes, the vaccine.
Vaccine, exactly. There will be still a lot of things to deal with, also in the daily work life. Automotive is really bad here in Europe, and also in the end, also a lot of our logistic rates go into automotive. While at the moment, as I said before already, we do not see any downturn, but I'm really expecting maybe to have a slow year in general. But hopefully we are lucky because we are quite worldwide, and there are a lot of big projects still out there. But from the perspective of today, should still come. But a lot of people postponed 2-3 months the jobs.
Yeah.
So maybe after the summer or in the summertime, we can be really busy again. While at the moment we are busy, and maybe a lot of projects were held back, and they're all coming there. And they're coming to companies which are stable, which have a long track record, which are in a good area, in a good region. I think that's where you want to purchase an expensive product like a mold in the future.
Yes.
And that's why I think I'm not too pessimistic in our area.
That's good. We need to be that way.
I'd like to add something to that, Mario, as well. Absolutely. I mean, with regards to how we communicated to our customers in early March, we kind of got the team together from a distance and sent information out saying, follow the guidelines, keep washing your hands, stay away from people, both at work and also when you're away from work. That was really important as well, because that's something that we can't really control too much when people are away. So it was important to communicate that, and the team has been very good about adopting and working forward with those guidelines. So it's been good.
So in Canada, the Canadian facility, is it the same precautions? Do you mirror what Mario is saying for that facility?
Yeah, I think the governments and the medical teams and countries are pretty well aligned with the approach. So we've been following that guideline, and that's been really helpful. No one has directly or indirectly had contacted anything here, so it's been very good.
That's great.
And I want to say also, I feel more optimistic about the market. I think it's going to bounce back strongly after, I think in North America, after this kind of settles out. So I'm a bit more optimistic that things will move a little bit quicker here in North America.
I hope so too. I know one thing, this virus has definitely put a spotlight on the value of manufacturing, right? Worldwide, let alone North America and America. So I agree with you. I hope people start looking at their supply chains differently, start seeing the capabilities of, actually even start recognizing that mold making exists even, right? Like none of this equipment that people are using, all that critical equipment is coming from molds. So I look at that putting a spotlight on what we all do too.
One remark, what I would like to add to your words. It's really funny that in the beginning you saw many news here in Austria and I guess also in the US, where they made 3D printing companies doing this. But hey, guys, I mean, that's Mickey Mouse things, what they can do and what they can support. Instead, what mold making can do to this. And so we should really work together and get the things out there. I mean, that's the part what we can do. We also made another mold with the face shields. I don't know if you heard about that. You know, for the doctors. So first mold is running now in the Netherlands, and they supported already one hospital with 30,000 of these face shields.
That's wonderful.
And that was also super fast, made in 1 week. We built this mold in 1 week. It's a simple 4 cavities, but to get it out is really amazing. And if you make this in 3D printing, you're printing 1 year.
Exactly.
In 1 week, you have the same shots made with mold making and this injection in the end. So this one we should not forget where we are.
And there's some additional good news behind that as well, Christina. My understanding is that we partnered with the company to bring this tool to market for them, and I believe they donated the first 100,000 shields for free to the hospitals, and we also shared in the pricing of the tooling to that company. So really some things that we're trying to step up and help out both in timing and in cost on the project.
You saw that a lot, people coming together. So I would have to imagine with you getting those lead times, your suppliers, like to get the steel and the components, whatever you needed for your mold, your supply chain was rushed your job also, correct? You had no problem getting what you needed, obviously.
Exactly.
And what goes around comes around in the end.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yes.
What is your
even for the plastics industry, I have to say, you know, like end of last year, it was always bashing on the plastics industries, you know, how bad plastic is and so on.
Yeah.
And now you see, you know, you need it. You need plastics industry. Really
how funny
important.
is that? But how funny is that? It's like, oh, would you? I mean, we could go down a rabbit hole with that discussion, but it is, again, that's another positive to a crisis like this. It's again shedding light on something. That whole narrative can be crushed, because who doesn't want plastics right now? You need it. None of these people would be able to survive if we didn't have all this equipment. So I agree. What is your single biggest concern moving forward with the coronavirus?
Well, in the end, it's the economy in general. How stable it will get. I mean, it looks like for everybody, it looks clear that there will be no V turn. It will be more U shape, and so that's what we are hoping, that also that will be not so bad as some say, and that the recovery will really start already in autumn.
Yeah. Do you have any advice, or what do you think is the key for a mold manufacturer to get through this successfully? Because there's going to be a lot of shops that might not, or probably won't, because they weren't prepared or in good standing going into this crisis. So do you have any advice or share any insight with that?
Well, I mean, sure, but I think that the advice starts many years before already, that you have to prepare the company and put it on stable feet altogether. I mean, that's sure what everybody has to look for and invest step by step, and then you have some base where you can work with. But again, I think nowadays it's very important to keep the employees as much as you can wherever you are, because, you know, especially in mold making, you need a lot of years of experience, and that you have really the know-how which is needed work in your different area and make a good job. So if you are losing a lot of people now, or you have to lay them off, it's the most painful thing to do, I guess, especially for MoldMaking. It's not production. In production it's easier to hire and fire, but in MoldMaking this is not good. And so here in Austria we have to say that we are really lucky that we have a government program where you can send your employees on short work. And I don't know if you have heard about it, but it means that they're working only 60% of the time, for example, in different departments, but they're getting still 80–90% of their salary. Yeah. And the rest the government is paying here in Austria. So 60% and it's what we pay, and 30% is coming from the government. So that is something what is really, really helpful here, and we are really happy to have this tool at the moment.
No, that's good for that assistance.
Yeah, Christina, one of my concerns about coronavirus is that that we don't learn from it from a country and a supply chain standpoint, that we need to have a much more stable, let's say, separation or control of our supply chain for critical items. And I think if we don't learn something from this going forward and start bringing some of these to the individual countries so they have their own supply chains and control over essential products, whatever the case is, I think that would be a downfall if we don't learn some of that going forward. And if we just go back to it was before, we're going to have other issues in the future.
Exactly. We'll see how quickly we forget, because that tends to happen. I look at it too, it's the consumer now too. I think the average person has been a little surprised that we didn't have what we needed for this. So you hope that sticks with me as a citizen, right? Like, wait a minute, that should not be happening. And you speak out about it and make a difference so the larger companies don't choose to do that anymore. Because it seems like it's obvious, but we forget too quickly, But we go back to, although, you know what, let's talk about this just a little bit. What do you think the new normal is going to be? And that's kind of wrapped in that discussion, Angelo. When you think about manufacturing or mold making, people keep throwing that term around. Does that mean something to Haidlmair? Do you see the way you do things and mold manufacturing in general being different coming out of this? The way they work, the type of people you're looking for, the way you lead your teams?
I would think that what's going to happen is companies are going to put more stringent hygiene procedures in place, that people are going to be going back to, cleaning their hands on a regular basis, putting various sanitizers throughout the plant so that people have them relatively accessible to use it. I'm not sure about face masks and things like that, if that's going to be something that's becoming more and more. I don't know. You hear different things about how helpful or not helpful they are. I don't see a big change, but I just think maybe more of an awareness of hygiene in general, and maybe the social distancing is going to be more of a normal thing in terms of space between people.
Can you see people that are working remotely? Do you see that continuing? Are you learning that, hey, the job can still get done and not have to physically be in the facility?
Well, I mean, we can definitely see that a lot of those meetings which you're doing online are more productive than real meetings which we would have in the meeting room down there. So even if our employees are at the site, we are still doing all the meetings online. And to be honest, I like that, and I think it's really a productive tool. To the other question, I wanted to mention that it was interesting to see that at the first time when the virus started, we got some orders which would have been placed in China, right? But we got it. It was a problem, and everybody didn't know what's happening. Then we got some orders from Italy at the time, later during that period, and so now we're there, and everybody's the same. And what I can really imagine is that we see that the companies are working more together again with the people they know, and they're not going for the price so much anymore. They like to know the people they want to trust, and they want to know the company and whom you're dealing with, then instead of only going for the price. That's what we have experienced here, and that's maybe a trend. I don't know, but at least that's what I've seen here, and I can imagine also in the US. that people will buy more local again, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And we have a good connection over there as well. We
Yep.
have a lot of friends in the US, and we all like them. And I think they will also think where to go and what you do with it.
Yeah, rethinking.
Yeah.
So,
And the quality matters too, as Mario said, also when when you buy something from a mold maker, you get the quality for the right price. It's not only, you pay the higher price, but you also
right.
get the higher quality then, so this has to match, then especially in the near future, or now.
And that's all built on relationships too. So that whole rethinking your supply chain it's focusing on the relationships to get that quality, to know those companies that you're working with, which doesn't always happen when you're just going for the price, right?
Yeah.
So before I let you go, can we chat a little bit about, I think something I read that Mario said, something I read on the internet, I guess, calling injection molds being stupid. And I love that because I know that's tying in this whole data side, the Industry 4.0, that whole initiative. So can you talk a little bit about what you mean by that and how Haidlmair is trying to make them more intelligent?
Right. If you look at the general injection molding process, at the moment, the leading item is the injection molding machine where you have the processor on it. So you have the computer, right? So you have a person which is standing there, which is punching in different data and making the process work in the end. And the mold maker at the moment is basically a guy who buys the steel from somewhere and then cuts some holes and cuts some pockets and put it together and deliver it. But it's stupid. It has no brain. It has no know-how. It's just steel, maybe some cylinders, maybe some electricity, maybe a pneumatic, maybe hydraulic, maybe sensors, but still, it has no brain. And this is going to change, that's for sure. And we want to initiate that. And we started a company a couple of years ago. We started to develop it. Last year, we started a new company called Digital Molds. And basically, in what we believe is that the whole process, why do we do that? And the whole process has to start from where it all ends. You understand?
Okay.
Because in the end, the product is the only thing what the customer is interested in. You're not interested in the injection molding machine. You're not interested in the material, but you're interested in the product. So,
the product.
for example, if you want to have that, you have to bring the know-how and the actual situation, what you have in the mold, to the whole process. And that's the basic idea of it. To get there, you need a lot of big data and you need a lot of information down the road. So what we did is we started with a small box, maybe as big as a mobile phone at the moment, which you can put on the mold and you can have all the information and the sensors are connected, and you store the data in a cloud. So, and through that, you can build up a lot of data, and then you can use that and make something out of it. And in the end, what you can do is that the mold itself knows the injection molding machine, it's working together, and you put the mold in and you have exactly the perfect setting for each mold and without any human interacting there. And this is because of the big data which is coming in the next couple of years. This is not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow. This is really possible, and we are working with a team on that. Also, a German mold maker now joined us, so now we are also working together with the Engel company about that, with the injection molding company, and they also are saying the same, even if it sounds like dangerous to themselves, but they also say no, the process has to come and start through the mold, and that's where it is.
So basically, anything you need to know about that product or that mold, it stays with the mold. Like, is it real time? Anything that is happening with the mold, whatever you're monitoring, it's all that information is going to be with that mold all the time.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
all the 3D files, all the information, all the service intervals, all the things are in the mold. But you can use it from your mobile phone. So I mean, you go to your phone and you see all your molds. You see all your molds running or not running, and what is the where they are. You also see where they are because you have a tracking system.
Even if they're not in production.
Even if not in production, you have some batteries in there, and it's really very interesting, and people love it. And especially, you know, there are so many big companies out there which have thousands of molds.
Exactly, to keep track of, right?
Yeah, and they have no idea where they are, how many shots they made, who is using them at the moment. And a lot of fraud is happening about it as well, to be honest. And also a lot of know-how you can build up for the future, because you can save the information, you can compare the molds, you can compare an expensive mold to a cheaper one and see the data, see the cycle time, and you have all that proven in your own track record there.
And think about that. Think about the virus too. How timely is it to have something like that where people can't travel to go see their molds, in the press, to do sampling, testing? They can have access to all that information remotely. It's like perfect, a perfect product for a time like this. So you should be marketing the heck out of that.
We'll try.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank you, gentlemen, for your time. I think it was a great conversation. It was a pleasure meeting you remotely. Hopefully, I'll see you at an international trade show sooner than later. And Angelo, same to you. So I want to remember everybody out there, for everything mold making, visit moldmakingtechnology.com and stay safe and stay healthy.